Austria.
Oh, Austria.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, everyone. May I have my slide up? So my name is Benedicta Apoma. I am originally Nigerian. I have a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from Nigeria, and I recently completed my Master's in International Health and Social Management from the Management Center Innsbruck in Austria. So a couple of years ago, after I left School of Pharmacy, I realized that I had a passion for community development projects. So I had identified some challenges in my community, and I thought, why not contribute, to improve the lives of young girls in my community? So I started out the campaigns against teenage pregnancy, menstrual hygiene. As you can see, a bunch of girls holding up sanitary pads all around me. And I thought that I was, supporting young girls in my community, I'm just trying to help. But I didn't realize that what I was doing had global relevance until one campaign selected me to be one of their youth ambassadors in Nigeria. And a few months after, they asked me to represent them in a conference in Belgium. So you can see a picture of me saying, "Hi, Brussels." It was my first international trip ever. I was so excited. And all of this project, with the one campaign and what I was doing, all accumulated into the scholarship with which I studied at the MCI, the Ban Ki-moon Scholarship, because of my engagements with the UN SDGs. So you can see a picture of me at the MCI a few days after we arrived from Austria with my family. And you see a picture of my family with my son, Divine, and my husband, Frederick. That was taken 2 years ago at the Geneva Health Forum. And clearly we have a new family addition, David, and my family is somewhere over there at the end. I've actually noticed a pattern that every time I come to the Geneva Health Forum, I come with an additional baby. I so much love the Geneva Health Forum, and I would really love to be invited next year or in 2 years. I just hope that that's just on a lighter side. Thank you, Geneva Health Forum, for having me and for having my family.
Raise your hand to the family of Benedicta. Oh, good. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now on to you. Your pitching time starts now.
Did you know that despite the available sexual reproductive healthcare services in Austria, refugee women were not adequately accessing them? I became curious as to why, and my curiosity led me to identify enabling and restricting factors that influence their decisions. What were my key findings? Gender and cultural sensitivity. By sexual reproductive healthcare services, I refer to pre- and postnatal care, family planning, abortion care, including female genital mutilation care services, to mention but a few. In some culture, sexual reproductive health is considered intimate and should not be discussed in public. Let me paint a scenario. Mrs. B had just had a baby in the refugee camp and required postnatal care. Usually, the camp coordinator or the social worker helps them book hospital appointments because of the presence of a language barrier. In this case, the camp coordinator, whom Mrs. B is most familiar with, is unavailable. Hence, the social worker was filling in for her. The social worker required some information from her to enable her book, the hospital appointment. Mrs. B would not oblige. Why? Because she didn't trust her well enough. The social worker goes the extra mile to call a friend of Mrs. B who spoke her local language fluently and spoke German. She still will not oblige. Okay, let me paint another scenario. Mrs. C had just booked an appointment with a gynecologist, including the services of a female translator. On arrival, a male translator shows up. That was the end of the appointment because she insisted on having a female translator. But it was, however, interesting to note that whenever a healthcare practitioner demonstrated cultural sensitivity in their delivery of sexual reproductive health, the gender did not matter anymore. For instance, the women were happily going to a male Arabic gynecologist because he spoke the language fluently and had an understanding of their culture. Cultural sensitivity in this context can simply mean arranging for translation services or using more subtle terms as against medical jargons. It is therefore highly recommended that in the delivery of sexual reproductive health, that cultural sensitivity be adopted, because sexual reproductive health is a human right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really interesting to hear there what you were saying about this cultural sensitivity. Could you give us, I don't know, an insight into what you've maybe found surprising or interesting about the respondents that you had? So, with regard to what you were talking about there.
Okay, so there was this particular respondent who, because of the trauma from her migration history, had developed a phobia for the male gender. And she had to be moved from the normal refugee camp with men and women to another camp, with women and children. Although eventually, when I asked further, because a part of the interview included, wanting to know if they are assigned to a gynecologist or they have to see a different one every other day. It was interesting to see that this particular respondent was actually attached to a female gynecologist. So I can't help but imagine what it would have been like if she had a male gynecologist.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Opening the floor for questions. We just need one question.
Please ask me.
There's
Okay.
one over there.
Thank you, Benedicta. You were just amazing. Thank you for
Thank you.
that to us. Can you give us a bit of insight on who are those women in Austria, from where they're coming from, how they reach this place, and what is maybe the way to reach Austria?
Thank you very much. So I had 9 respondents who were refugee women, and the other 2 respondents were the camp coordinator and the social worker. So for the refugee women, I had a woman from Nigeria, Ghana. A greater percentage of them were from Somali. We had someone from Afghanistan and Syria. And I listened to some of the stories, on how they moved from their countries of origin. Particularly some of the women from Somalia, they told me they actually came by foot from Somalia to Greece and from Greece to Austria. So their stories are really wonderful.
Really touching.
Yeah.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Benedicta.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It's my pleasure to announce that the winner of the Science Speed Talks 2024 is Benedicta.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I should totally do my dance. Thank you, everyone. This award is not just for me. I'm very grateful, first of all, to God for the strength given me to be able to study with a toddler and being pregnant with another child. And I'm grateful for my very supportive husband, for my children who had to stay quiet for me to study, and the one who had to endure being in the womb while doing my master thesis and all of that. Thank you so much. And just to put it out there, thank you to the Geneva Health Forum, to my school, the Management Center Innsbruck, for training me into a fine researcher worthy of recognition at the prestigious Geneva Health Forum. Thank you very much. And just to also put it out there that I am looking for my next role, because this is an example. If I'm able to study with 2 children and be able to get this, I am the girl for the job. If you have, please come on.